Oh, sorry about that. I can't. What a great stay. If we have a look to the left, Dave, make sure you stay to the left, just behind the tree. And there is a lion somewhere there. He's going to walk out, hopefully, into shot now. He's just behind that tree. Oh, he's laying down. Can you see him, Dave?
Not with the camera.
Not with the camera. Okay, I'm right on the precipice. How's that? Oh, we can just see him. We're on the wrong side of the river system. Now, these lions were right down. They've made a buffalo kill. And this is where I was walking the other day when Rusty broke and we had to come home. So I just missed them. Okay, so we're actually on the wrong side of an impassable river. And we're going to have to find a way to get through it, to get to those lions. And while we do that, let's go to Jamie for the stuff, so she can say hello.
And a very good afternoon to all of you, and welcome to this portion of the Sunset Safari. My name is Jamie, and this afternoon I have VM on camera with me, and we are heading out. Finally, Brent managed to figure out where those lions were hiding. After about 2 days of searching for them, we finally managed to catch up with them. Oh, hello. Could there be a yellow bull? I thought I saw a flash of yellow, but I think it was just an oxpecker eye. Oh, no, I did see a yellow-billed oxpecker. Awesome. That's always an exciting way to start a drive. If perhaps you have just joined us and you're wondering why we're not focusing on the big buffalo in front of us, but rather the birds on its back, it's because a yellow-billed oxpecker is actually quite a rare sight out here. And it's a lovely bird to add to your bird list if you are a new viewer. Perhaps you'd like to keep track of all of the different birds that we get to see. The yellow-billed, as opposed to the red-billed, there's also red-billed oxpeckers here, is quite a rare bird indeed, and in fact went through a stage where they were actually quite endangered. But we also have a big buffalo bull in front of us, which is a nice place to start. Hello, mister. You've managed to escape the lions. The buffalo have been terrorized a little bit over the last few days, the last few weeks. All of the buffalo herds have wandered onto Djuma because they have to, because it's one of the few places that has had proper rain. So there's plenty of grass. But, of course, there is a lion pride sitting waiting with 8 hungry little cubs to feed. So the Nkuhumas have been doing some serious buffalo hunting. And what that has actually meant is that some of the buffalo bulls are not in the best of moods. Luckily, this one seems to be relatively peaceful. Hey, boy. And of course, if you add to that the fact that they are under such stress from surviving or coming through this drought, which hopefully I say it like it's the end of the drought. I don't think that's entirely true, but their bodies have been under severe stress in terms of managing to find themselves enough food to feed upon. And there we go. You can see he's still quite thin. He hasn't managed to get enough grass to fatten himself up just yet. He has spent some time wallowing in the mud. Nice way of cooling off. He doesn't need it today, but that's probably from yesterday, which was very, very warm indeed. Oh, for those of you who missed the sunrise safari, we of course had to stop because it rained upon us, and it rained upon us quite seriously. It now looks, we've taken a big risk. We've taken our rain covers off the cars. I haven't folded them up, but we have taken them off. I don't know if that's going to prove to be a bad decision, but we are very happy in that we did get to have a little bit of rain. And Jen, in Minnesota, I don't know how much rain fell. I don't think a huge amount, just because driving along the road, especially in this area, we'd usually see puddles. I mean, these mud wallows that are off to my left haven't got a drop in them. So those, if it had been a heavy rain, if we'd had, let's say, 5 mils, even 10 mils, and let's say, for argument's sake, 30, we would have seen water gathering in there. I honestly think we probably had about 5-ish, would be my guess, but I'm not 100% sure. It was very heavy in one go this morning when we started, which of course from the Sunrise Safari's perspective meant we had to spend the rest of the drive in the tent because all of our equipment got very wet very quickly and we just had to let everything dry off. But we're dry once again, and I am on my way to Karula with a brief check of this area first. So I haven't gone straight there, because when I was sitting at Inger's at about 1 o'clock this afternoon, I heard a leopard sawing. So obviously it could have been Karula, but why would she saw when she's got a kill that's still got meat on it? Now, of course, this weather is beautiful weather for big cats. It's not too hot, and the fact that it has rained means that they have to go back and remark their territories. They have to go and urine scent mark all of the spots that they would have otherwise, because of course it's all washed away. My thinking is it might be Tingana on patrol. I'm just checking around here where I think I heard the sawing coming from. I was inside, which makes narrowing it down a little bit difficult. I'm hoping it might have been from somewhere around here. And of course it's entirely possible we could get to Karula, the queen of Djuma, and her 2 gorgeous cubs, and find that Tingana is there as well. For those of you who are new to to these live safaris, that must all have seemed like gobbledygook. Karula is the female leopard that's dominant in this area. She's got 2 gorgeous little cubs, and Tingana is the dominant male leopard. And oh my goodness me, see, every live safari is a journey. In this case, we've got 5 giraffe in front of us, and if I'm not very much mistaken, they're all boys. I think they are. And some of them are obviously younger than others, but these are all male giraffe. So we've got a bachelor club happening at Djuma. Some younger, some older. The biggest one is the giraffe. Let's see, these are all young little boys. You can see one's still very tiny. The largest one is the big dominant bull off to the right, and he will be the dominant one in this group. And that's the nice thing about giraffe. You don't really, I say that, now that he's moving closer, he's actually not that much bigger. Little bit bigger. That's the nice thing about giraffe. You don't get a strict herd structure. You don't get, like with wildebeest, for example, an established herd, or zebra, an established herd. Giraffe come and go as they will, which means we can either see 1, or we can see 5, 6, up to 10 at a time. That one's, what are you doing? Now the nice thing, he's scratching the bottom of his neck. I thought for a second he was trying to intimidate someone. He is trying to intimidate someone. Look at that, mock mounting. What he's doing there, now he's necking the other male. Oh, this is wonderful. I was about to say I hope we get a little bit of sparring between the 2. I love how the male that he's trying to fight with is not interested at all. He's just ignored him completely. So what we had there was gentle necking. Oh, that sounds terrible. I mean, he was swinging his head in the way that giraffe fight, the whole process of it, as they swing their heads and they knock each other on the rump or on the sides or on the legs. And that was just very playful. But then what he also did was what's known as mock mounting, which is basically where you have usually 2 males. It can be with females as well. And it's a display of dominance where one will mount the other one, sort of similar to the position that they'd adopt if they were mating, but it's not properly homosexual behavior. It's a display of dominance between the males. He's still following on. We might actually get some nice sparring happening. You often see it with young giraffe. There, is that one going to go and give it another go? Yep. Here we go again. The 2 at the back. I don't want to go any closer because this group seems to be quite skittish. But just watch carefully because I think he's going to try it again. Yep. A slight rearing back action. Oh! We've been blocked by the 4th male that's come and stood directly in front of them. I'm sorry, are we not allowed to watch? This is a private boys' club. Look, he's going to go again. He is trying. Is he following behind? That's what a male giraffe does to a female. It's actually pushing the other male out of the way. That's the way that they court a female. But as I said, it's not sexual behavior, it's dominance. Okay, let's try and reposition so that we've got a better view of this. This is where giraffe bulls can be highly entertaining, especially young, like any young male animal. So we see it with the elephant bulls all the time. They play with each other, they practice their fighting. And giraffe are no different. It's preparation for the day where they might actually need to use those skills. Now on Djuma, we've got a couple of massive giraffe bulls, big, dark, dominant males that these chaps don't have a hope of competing with at the moment. But it doesn't hurt to practice, and that's what these two are doing. It's all very gentle for now. Don't stop, please don't stop. It's okay, it's alright, we don't... There we go. They're gonna keep going. How cool is this? When giraffe do this really seriously, when it's a really serious battle, the impact that they are capable of creating or exerting, there we go, is enormous. I'm sure you'll be able to have a look, not right now of course, but after the safari you can have a look at videos of giraffe necking and fighting with each other. And it's unbelievable what they do to each other. The impact, if you watch it in slow motion and the ripples. He's actually kind of more interested in lunch than he is in this whole process. Let's see if he does it again. There we go. Now he's going to go again. See, he's almost shunting him out of the way. Not a full mounting behavior, but I have seen that with male giraffe before. And they could be at this for hours. It's half-hearted sparring / eating, whichever happens to be more important at the time. You can see they're both males for new viewers because of the size of the ossicones. You can definitely see the one on the right is a male. Nobody. It's not going to work. And if you're getting amazing screenshots, this could almost be gentle and loving. It could look like two giraffe hugging each other or nuzzling up to each other. The one on the left is definitely far, far smaller than the one on the right. Now, peace again, for the moment. Yes, we're watching you. There we go. And James Dungan, while we look at these young males sparring, he wants to know if their legs will darken up like the rest of their bodies. Yes, probably they will. I mean, their whole, as you know, for the most part, giraffe tend to darken with age, although we do have to be careful of making assumptions like that. But yes, their legs will darken, but probably never match completely the rest of their bodies. But it's difficult to say because, of course, each one is genetically distinct. So just like us, as we've mentioned, I'm sure we've spoken about before, the fact that it's kind of like human beings having different hair color. I think, though, particularly the one on the right, those spots on his legs are much, much paler than the rest of his body. And I think whilst they will darken, I wonder whether or not they'll ever catch up with the rest of him. Oh, I'm sorry. He just wasn't all that interested, my friend. He's gone off. Right. Well, since our giraffe have stopped their sparring for now, let's head back across to Brent, who's managed to get a good position to view the Nkuhumas, who we haven't seen in a while.
Well, there we go. We've caught up with the pride on the other side of that very, very steep river system. Of course, we can get a much better view of them now. Yes, a bit better than through the Timbuti trees. Hello, little ones. Now, we had a bit of an interesting start to the drive, and I'm afraid I can't tell you why. One day I'll tell you why. You're just going to have to remind me. But it was quite funny. Now, they have managed to kill a buffalo. It's in the river, in that impenetrable river system. Oh, growl, growl. Let's just move a little bit to see the cubs playing a bit better. So I think they might head down into the river, and we might not have too much time with them. Well, let's just say, let's go a bit further forward. Now, one lioness went off here. The other crossed through to the other side where we were. Wasn't very nice of her. See, can you see her still, Dave? Now, I stopped walking about 40 meters from here, and there was an elephant right there. And then we discovered that Rusty wasn't working so well, so we had to come back. And of course, I've almost forgotten, my name is Brent, and on camera with me today, back from leave, is Dangerous Dave the Dish. He's looking quite dishy this evening, very relaxed from his holidays. Hi, little guys, little troublemakers. Are you happy here, Dave, or a bit further forward? Ooh, maybe a little bit further forward. Oh no, they've harassed Mom into moving. Oh, no, definitely further forward. And also, we might get a slight view of where the buffalo is. No, I don't think so. So the buffalo is literally in front of us, but we can't see it from here. Sorry, just look on the male line there. I don't want to go too far, but look what's happening there. Oh, isn't that sweet? I thought the cubs were going to come this way. Seems like they tricked me. Let's just go back a bit again. But just to give you an idea of the type of area. So I think that actually this buffalo, while being chased, fell into this ravine. And then from there, it was near impossible for him to escape. So he's off down there, probably about 15 feet down. And you can, as Dave jumps back, and you can have a look at the type of terrain I'm talking about here that they managed to chase that buffalo into. Steep, steep banks. Okay, let's go back. Happy there. Now, Karen's wondering is if the amber-eyed lioness, she was here just now, she moved off though, lioness is pregnant. Will the rest of the pride stick around while she dens? It'll be quite similar to what happened with the others. They'll be around, but they won't stay right near her den, and she'll join them from time to time while heading back to the den. Bit of a serious fight there. It irks me a little bit that I stopped walking 10 meters from where, or 20 meters from where the buffalo kill was. Now, Deborah in South Carolina is wondering about the Birmingham boy who's got a massive crater in his face. How's he doing? I haven't seen him in a while, as far as I know. He's probably doing fine. He is a male lion after all, and they are incredibly resilient and are constantly filled with injuries. So I'm sure he's fine. He might be with the sticks, he might be with the Torchwood Pride. I'm not sure. He could just be taking some alone time. Oh, look at that. So this is the male with the split lip. Looking quite, all of them looking very fat and happy. Now we're going to sit here, see what happens. We might go look for some ellies just now, but for the moment I'm quite happy next to the Nkuhumas. But across to Jamie and a bird of prey.
Good morning, Batalia. Good afternoon, should I say. I love how he greeted us all with a massive yawn. Our giraffe, unfortunately, I would have loved to have stayed with them, but they actually moved into some really dense vegetation. Otherwise, I would have stuck around with them. But we've come around the corner and found this striking male Batalia glancing across at us. Definitely one of the most striking of the birds, particularly when they puff up their faces like that. Truly fabulous looking. Now, he's just been sitting here giving himself a jolly good preen and yawning. I'm not quite sure what that is. I'm not 100%, I mean, it's funny to look at. It looks like he's yawning, but I'm not 100% convinced that that's what he's doing. I wonder if something didn't quite go down the right hatch or go down his throat properly. It almost looks as though he's got something stuck. Now he's definitely got an itch behind his ear. Looks strange, this Batalia. Disgruntled almost. So one of our most striking birds of prey with their bright orange faces and bright orange feet. I know that it's a male. He's missing that. It's one of the few birds of prey that you can tell immediately that it is a male or a female, just based on looking at them. And that's because the females have a strip of white along the bottom edge of their wing feathers. So he's got that sort of pale grey region. Underneath that, a female would have white, bright, a very clear white, not even just dirty off-white. It's very, very obvious and very visible. So this is a male. His mate is probably somewhere around here. We do have a mating pair of Batalias on Mumba Road. There we go again. Looks like he's calling, but he's not making any sound. That's weird. Interesting. It does look like he's got quite a full crop. That section underneath his beak, but I can't see because of the light. And he's got that such dark feathers. I'm not 100% sure. I wonder if he fed on something and it's just taking a while for him to swallow it properly. Oh, hello. Copy that, thanks, Orbs. I'm on my way there now. There we go. He's settled down again. And Jib, talking of the crest around its face and the feathers that we can see very clearly, you wanted to know why they puff up their faces. Well, the only time I've actually seen them doing that is when they've come into competition with another Batalia or when they are threatened in some way. I think he is just stretching out his feathers. I think maybe after the rain and having done some good preening, because obviously the feathers are attached to little muscles underneath the skin, kind of like when we get goosebumps. They're able to puff them up like that. But I'm not 100% sure why he's doing it now. It's not all that windy. That's what I first... You can see the leaves are moving a little bit, but it's not that windy. That's what I first thought, was that it was being blown by the wind. But I think he's doing it deliberately, and you might see it with birds when they go and they go and wash themselves. They have a little bath or a swim, not a proper swim, but just a bath, and then they fluff their feathers up and they give themselves a good shake. It could also be that he's cold. Now he's standing on one leg to complete this confusion that we have going on here. Now he's really giving us a show, and I cannot begin to explain what's going on here. I mean, it's quite common to see birds of prey standing on one leg. They often give one a rest. But that combined with the odd yawning... Here we go, stretching out his talons. Now he's back on 2 feet. I'm at a loss to tell you why he's puffing himself up. I think it's just because he's cold and he's sort of stretching out his feathers. Okay, so Diane, I think that's pretty much what I was thinking of. You were saying that because you watch the live off-spray cams and so on, you've learned that that motion is the crop drop. So getting food from the crop, presumably out then into the belly. Now that makes total sense, because I think he did have quite a full crop. So thank you, that does help a lot and explains what he's doing. It did look like a sort of a feeding motion. It was just a bit confusing that he kept doing it repeatedly, but I suppose if he's got quite a lot of food in there, then that would be exactly what he's doing. I wonder why. I wonder what he ate. These birds are skilled snake catchers, hence the lack of feathers all the way down to the feet. It helps them position their talons more clearly, and they've got very, very thick, very strong skin around and scales around their feet and their lower legs to stop themselves being bitten. They're also consummate scavengers, and with all of the kills that have been around recently, I wouldn't be at all surprised if this battalier has managed to capitalize on them. Karula's impala kill is probably about, I'd say, less than 100 meters away from here, and her Dacre kill is probably about 150 odd meters away from here. So just from what we know alone, there are at least 2 kills in this vicinity that it could well have scavenged off, along with tawny eagles and, of course, the usual birds of prey scavengers, the vultures. I am on my way to Karula. Just to let you know, there will be a school drive this afternoon starting in 5 minutes. I'm not 100% sure. I don't quite know what the time is. Starting on the hour. Yeah, they'll be starting on the hour, so we will, for new viewers, we will be talking to sort of 6 and 7-year-olds, and we will be taking their questions for that half an hour. I'm sure you all understand education of the next generation is incredibly important, and being able to share this amazing space with them is truly special. And on that note, I'm going to go to Karula. Let's head across to Brent and those lions.
So they just moved. 2 of the lionesses went off. It sounded like they tried to chase another buffalo, but it escaped. And I can just hear impala snorting in the distance. Now, some of the cubs have run off to go join that lioness, so I just wanted to get the aerial out of the way for you so you can see nicely. And a massive welcome to Diamond Springs Elementary School. Welcome to your own private safari here in the African bush. Send me and Jamie lots of questions. We'd love to hear from you. Isn't this amazing? Look, there's a little lion cub running right past me. So this pride of lions is called the Nkuhuma pride. And they're our most regularly seen lions in our area. There are 5 females and 8 babies that are playing over there. Let's see if they come out the other side of that bush. So where they've gone, we can't take a car, unfortunately. But still to the right, we've got some more lions. And there's a male lion there. Angelina was wondering, where's the dad? Well, there are actually 4 dads, and they are called a coalition. They can spend time together or apart with different prides. So there we go. That is one of the Birmingham boys, and there are 4 of them. And any one of them could be the dad to these cubs. Well, Christopher's wondering, how do they feed the babies? Christopher, well, there's 2 ways. These babies are still quite young, so they still drink mom's milk. But even from when they're very young, about 8 weeks old, they will eat meat. So if the lions catch a buffalo or a wildebeest or a giraffe, the babies will eat on it. And they've actually killed a buffalo. And this pride's favorite food is buffalo. And unfortunately, we can't see where the kill is. I can smell it though. And it's in the little dry river next to us. So the kill's just over there. I'll move around just now to see if we can get a view of it. Oh, look, I think those guys are going to tackle each other. Nope, and to the left. There we zoom. There we go. So the babies like to play quite a bit. And I think they might tackle each other and play on that termite mound there. You can see there's one on the left, one on the right. The one on the right looks like it's about to pounce. Lula's wondering, how do the lions bath? Well, Lula, like if you've got a cat at home, they bath by licking. So the moms will lick the babies, and the babies will lick themselves. There goes the other mom. See, that's one of the moms. Let's just move forward a little bit. Okay, well, let's have a quick look above them. One of the reasons we knew that Kill was here, there's a whole bunch of vultures in the tree waiting for the lions to finish so they can get what's left. Now, Xavier was wondering, how do they get fur around their necks? Well, oh, there we go, there's a vulture moving. Xavier is obviously talking about the male lion. Let's go have a look at him. Now, the reason a male lion has all that fur around his head is it's protection. And so if he has to fight with other male lions, they can't grab him around the throat. So, and the other reason is also the same thing for fighting and for looking for girlfriends. So also, the bigger the mane, the more impressive he looks, the less likely another male will want to fight with him. And then also, the better he looks to the ladies, so he can find more girlfriends. And there he is there, being quite lazy. You can see his mane nicely now. Now there we go, Xavier. You can see that, how it would protect around his neck. Oh, he's going to give you a shake, Xavier. But anyway, I, of course, I'm not the only car out here. Jamie is out looking for animals too, and she's got a big surprise for you.
Hello and welcome to all of the kids at Diamond Springs Elementary. It's wonderful to have you on board, all of you in Mrs. Rawls' class. My name is Jamie, and how amazing is it that you've already got a chance to see lions with Brent. Now you're going to jump on the back of the car with me and with them, who's directing and putting where the camera goes. All those words, and we're going to go and search for something amazing, but I need your help as we go and do it. So I need everybody to keep your eyes peeled. I'm not going to tell you what animal it is that we're looking for. I don't know exactly where it is. I know that this morning she was here, but now the question is she going to still be here, and are we going to find her? I want you all to help me. We're going to keep going in nice and slowly. And once we do come in, it's important, everybody fingers to your lips, that we go up nice and slowly. Okay. Now the animal we are looking for likes to be very, very secretive. They love to hide, and they're very good at it. Better than you or me. They've got very special coats that help them almost disappear. It's like they've got an invisibility cloak. Help them almost disappear into the bushes, which means that you've got to concentrate really hard on looking for them. As I said, I don't know exactly where she is. I'm hoping, fingers crossed, that she is still here. Let's see. Okay. We're going to stop once we get round this corner to where I left her before, and let's see if you can help me figure out exactly where she is. So let us look all the way on the side. Can you see her? Can you spot anything yet? Look carefully. What's that on the right? What's that there? Look at that. Isn't that incredible? That, everybody, is a female leopard, and she is beautiful. Okay, well, now we know. Oh, hold on, look. See, I told you they're so good at hiding. Look at that. There's one of her babies. That's one of her little leopard cubs. That's the little boy. She's also got a little girl here as well. So, we've got the possibility of seeing 3 leopards. We've seen 2 now. Let's go around the corner and see if we can... Can you see the third one? Oh, VM spotted the third one. Where's VM spotted the third one? Oh my goodness. Can you see the third one there? Are you looking hard? Are you looking carefully? See what I mean? That's how good leopards are at hiding. So 1, 2, and 3, the mother and her two little cubs, 1 girl and 1 boy. Now can you guess how old those cubs are? Well, I'm going to tell you because it'll be almost impossible for you to guess. They're only 8 months old. So I hope you're all excited. Let's go a little bit closer. Now, it's important to remember that these animals are completely wild and that we are in their home, not the other way around. We are visitors in their house. So that means we're going to approach really carefully, really slowly, and make sure that we don't upset them in any way. Let's go up and see. Now, this morning, we were lucky enough to see them all playing together, which is really unusual because leopards are generally solitary animals. But luckily for us, she's got these 2 gorgeous cubs. Hello, my girl. Can I come through? Now, come on. You'll notice I'm being very quiet now, not talking too loudly, because I don't want to upset her in any way. Kermon, you want to know how fast leopards can run. I want you to look at, after we're finished with this LiveSafari, I want you to go outside and I want you to take big steps. I want you to take big steps and I want you to take 40 big steps. 40 big steps, and then mark out the position where you started and then mark out the position where you finished. And that's how fast a leopard can go in 1 second. In the blink of an eye, that's how fast a leopard can go. How incredible is that? So to give you the proper speeds, oh, hold on, before we do, her little boy is going to climb up the tree. We're going to get to see how good they are at climbing. Now, he is going to go and feed off what she's put up there, which is an impala that she caught and she killed. It seems very sad, but it is part of nature. Look at him. So there you go, Lula. You want to know, what do they like to eat? They can only eat meat. They have to catch and kill the antelope and the warthogs and other animals out here, which makes them sound very scary, but it's like the lions. That's what they are built to do, and that's where that little boy is on his way to now. He's climbed all the way up the tree, which is what leopards are best at, and now he's going to go and feed off the impala carcass. And Senia, you want to know, what do they do to protect their babies? So, female leopards are amazing animals. What they sometimes do, their babies are actually very good at protecting themselves because they can climb up trees. But recently, we've seen this exact female leopard, and her name is Karula, which means peace, or peaceful. So we've seen this leopard actually run down and distract some wild dogs, run down a tree and distract some wild dogs and lead them away from her babies. So a leopard mother is very, very protective, but her cubs are also very good at looking after themselves. You can see that Karula is quite sleepy. She's got a full belly and she's had to work hard because her cubs are basically teenagers and they're doing lots and lots of growing. So she's got to feed them and herself all by herself. And look at those incredible paws. Angelina, you wanted to know, does the mom teach them how to eat? She doesn't. That is all instinctive. In other words, they are born knowing how to do that. Now she's watching her son, who is about to drop the impala. If you don't want to see, we're not going to go too close on it. You can just see it dangling from there. I don't want to focus too much on it because it's a little bit sad for some of you, but that impala is about to fall out of the tree, and she's put that up the tree to keep him safe. We were talking about female leopards teaching their babies to hunt. They don't teach them to hunt or to eat because that's actually something that they are born with. They're born with that knowledge, they just have to practice it. But what she does do is she brings the carcasses or the things that she's killed, she'll bring the cubs to them and let them practice their hunting technique on the kills that she's made before she eats them. So it's a really clever way of just helping them learn the skills that they need. She'll also play with them. Now, playing is a really important way that lion cubs and leopard cubs learn the sort of how to jump and pounce and scratch at each other, and they don't hurt each other, but it's a really very good lesson for them. It's practicing all of those skills that they're going to need for one day when they're big, fully grown leopards and mom is no longer there to look after them. Madela, you want to know, how does she camouflage so well? Well, that's the amazing thing about leopards. They are truly extraordinary in the way that they hide. So the spots on their coat actually basically serve to break up the outline of the animal. And it's one of nature's best ways of camouflaging any creature. You can see her coat is almost a yellowish brown color, almost the same color as the dirt around her, so the soil around her, and then with those black spots she looks like a bit of shade. So if we look at her daughter, whose name is Xongile, now at the moment Xongile is lying on her side, so her white tummy is showing, but you can sort of see, if we didn't have a camera with a zoom, we could easily have driven right past her. Look at that. Look at how she disappears. And that's what leopards are best at, being secret and stealthy. Now remember how we were talking about how fast a leopard can run? Now they can run really fast, but they can't run very fast for very long. So what that means is that they're not long-distance runners, they're not marathon runners, they're sprinters. They're like those of you that can run the 100 meters or however long and do it very, very quickly, but you can't run for a long time. Karula is like that, or all leopards are like that. They have to sneak up on their prey to get close before they pounce. So they can't run for a long time. They have to get closer by relying on their camouflage. Okay, I'm going to shift around so that we can get a really nice view. In the meantime, Brent has found something else amazing to show you.
Now that is one of the vultures that's waiting for the lions to leave. It's called a hooded vulture. The big ones on top are called white-backed vultures. And what they're waiting for is at the bottom of the riverbed. There it is. That's all that's left of a young buffalo bull. The lions have eaten most of it. Now they've got full tummies. They're not so finished, or they're not finished it yet. They will try eat a bit more. But while they've got full tummies, They're going to lie around being lazy. Now, lions are really lazy. They sleep for about 20 hours a day. So if you like sleeping, you might be like a lion. Okay, let's go back to look at those lions. I just wanted to show you what they'd been eating. Okay, here we go. Now, Cameron is wondering, what does the buffalo eat? Well, Cameron, the buffalo eats grass. Move the branch out of the way. There we go. And we can see nicely. So we've got the male lying just over there. We've got 2 females here. 1 cub, the rest are down there, where we can't get a car to playing, but fortunately we've got a big zoom on our camera. Look at that, there we go, lying with mom. Now Lula wants to know whether lions hunt at night. They hunt whenever they get the chance, but yes, Lula, you are correct. They are normally nocturnal hunters, but all predators are opportunistic, so they'll grab a meal whenever they get the chance. Oh, fat tummy. Now Madeline is wondering, how do they creep up on the buffalo? Well, with buffalo, they'll generally charge a big herd. Sometimes they can be 400 or 500 in a group, and they look for one that's weak, and then they will jump on its back and jump on its nose. Oh, well, that one's got an itchy head. He's giving himself a scratch. Now we can hear a bird calling in the distance, going cuckoo, cuckoo. And that is, of course, a cuckoo, the African cuckoo calling. Xavier is wondering how vultures eat their prey. Xavier, let's see if we can, there's a vulture. Now let's hope we can see carefully. Oh, let's have a look, they're all tucked in there. But they've got big beaks, very strong beaks, and they rip the meat off the carcass. Not the little one at top, that's a hooded vulture. He just eats the little pieces that no one else sees. Now I know you guys, some of you might find this very gross, but the hooded vulture sometimes even eats the lion's poo. Oh, look there, that baby's playing, or trying to get mom to play with him. Mom doesn't want to play. Time for a nap, son. Now, Angelina is wondering, do lions swat flies with their tails? Well, they swat at flies, Angelina. They don't really swat them. They even try to bite them. But the tails are there for a couple of reasons. And with a lot of animals, you're right, Angelina, tails are there to swat at flies. With lions, however, it's more for balance when they're running very fast. And also, it's part of their visual communication. You can always see it, and a lion's upset. It swats its tail from side to side. As you can see, these lions are not upset. They're sleeping. As I said, there are 5 lionesses. 2 of them went off for a walk. Maybe they went to get a drink. But if I look at that lioness at the bottom, she looks like she's heard something. Now, Christopher would like to know, how do vultures fight over food? Well, Christopher, they bite each other, peck each other, scratch each other with their feet. We can hear that cuckoo calling again. Cuckoo, cuckoo, cuckoo. Very lazy lions today. That's because they're happy, because they've got a big kill. Here we go, there's some cubs playing. Amira would like to know how many lions are asleep now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and probably a few that we can't see, so maybe 6 or 7. Definitely 5. Oh, look at all these lazy lions. Well, I don't think the lions are going to do too much. I think we should go try find some elephants or other animals. What do you think, Dave? Let's go find some other animals. Bye, lions. Well, Lula wants to know what animals like to eat lions. Well, Lula, not too many animals that I know of. The only thing that I've ever really seen eat lions is other lions. Oh, look at the cub climbing the tree. Well, there we go, having a big game there, chasing each other around. Jim Aries wondering, do they have sharp teeth? Yes, very sharp teeth. So sharp that they could bite you in half. But fortunately, they don't bite too many people. They prefer buffalo. Oh, well then that little one's going to disappear. I'm going to go see what other animals we can see. I thought I heard some elephants just down the road. You can see, imagine this, I'm not even driving on a road, I'm driving through the middle of the bush. That's why we have these really cool safari vehicles with really big tires so we don't get flat tires. Now the amazing thing about nature is that you're watching us out here in Africa, but there's all sorts of nature where you live. And I encourage all of you to start keeping a list of all the incredible animals you find around your house. Now, incredible animals don't have to be big like lions. They can be small, like a dove. Left on the ground. Next to the tree. Left. There we go. Zoom. There we go. There's a dove, a Cape turtle dove. So the incredible animals could even be bugs. So there's some very, very cool bugs that live all over the world. So I think you guys should start keeping a list of all the incredible creatures you get just around your school and your homes. You can see lots of fun things like praying mantis, grasshoppers, caterpillars, and lots of different birds. Okay, so now I'm just trying to find the road. I'm lost. No, I'm only joking. Of course I know where the road is. It's that way. A big thank you to Diamondback Elementary School for joining us. It's been a wonderful day. Our aerial's fallen down. He's going to put it back up. There we go. And we hope you're going to join us on another live safari very soon. Diamond Springs. Sorry, I've got Diamondback in my head. I'm thinking about the rattlesnakes. So that's one snake I haven't seen. I would very much like to one day. So goodbye to Diamond Springs, and hope you'll join us for another safari soon. Okay, welcome back everyone. So most of the Nkuhumas are heading down into that very, very thick little river system. So we're going to leave them be for now. I want to go see where the two other lionesses went. And I heard them chasing what sounded to be either zebra or buffalo from the hoof prints. And also see if we can find some ellies down that way. So well, they might have headed towards the Galago Pan. Let's go have a look. Remember, this is a live African safari. Hashtag Safari Live on Twitter or questions at wildearth.tv. Well, Cat O Lantern in Tampa would like to know, will the rain cause the snakes to come out? I wouldn't say we had enough rain to cause that. Maybe during the evening, if the frogs come out, it might bring out some of the spitting cobras and the puff adders. Dave, our aerial, is down again. Okay, we're back on the road. But we will start seeing the snakes when it's a bit warmer. So even though we've had a bit of rain, we've only had one really warm day this October so far. So I think it's quite chilly still for quite a few of the snake species. Okay. So those impala were alarming down towards the Galago Pan, so we're going to do a loop that way, hopefully. Well, who knows? The incredible Nkuhumas might have caught something else. But judging by the other lionesses' reaction, I think they probably missed. Monkey Business is wondering, why don't the lions see humans as food? Well, because they don't see us as humans. In a vehicle, it is a block, and they do not have eyesight like we do. They do not see detail. They might pick up our arm movements and things like that, but they are looking, what they're looking for when they look for humans is this. And for 200,000 years, this shape is what a lion associates with a human. And when it's light, it associates it as a dangerous predator. We're the dominant diurnal predator, which means if a lion sees us on foot during the day, 99% of the time they're going to run away or give us a warning growl. That, however, changes when it comes to dark. Lions are the dominant nocturnal predator. There's that little instinctive thing in your head that makes you want to get into your house when it gets dark. And that's your brain telling you that if you stay out in the dark, bad things are going to happen. Lions are going to eat you. So that's why they do not attack us in the car or attack us when we track them on foot. However, if you had to wander around at night, I would happily write your obituary for you. You will be eaten by a lion, not if, but when. Hope that makes a bit more sense, Monkey Business. So one must remember that a car has only been around for about 100 years. So the lions do not have an instinctive response. And as much as a few people might not like to hear this, Lions are not particularly clever animals as animals go. They're very instinctive animals, and they rely a lot on their instincts. So that instinctive reaction to that upright figure, the bipedal figure of man, is what they will react to. It's ingrained in them. Whereas a car has only been around for about 100 years, they don't have that instinctive reaction to it. So if you drive carefully, considerately, and you don't put pressure on them or driving too close or pushing them with a vehicle, you can view them like we do. Now, by all means, lions will consider you prey in the dark, but not during the light. Sorry, 1 second, just give the directions. Hello, hello. No, the lines, if you just go up the fire break, and you'll see the Morvan Konzo going south. Enjoy. Excuse me. Okay. And the same goes with a lot of the animals. Why we can get close to zebra in a car, but you can't on foot, because man is the dominant diurnal predator, and we have been for about 200,000 years. So we ruled the daytime hours and the lions ruled the nocturnal hours. Now there are certain species that have quite different reactions to people. One of those, and is one of my favorite animals, is hyena. Now hyena have a different instinctive response to us. People are incredibly messy. We're messy eaters. We're also not very effective eaters if you can take a hyena into comparison. So we leave a lot of waste, bones, gristle, which a hyena will happily chow down on. So hyenas will often not run away from you when you're on foot. Even if you chase them, they only run 20 meters and look at you. They're not really going to try eat you, but because they know you're a potentially dangerous thing, but they know you're not that fast as well. And especially at night, they come really close into human habitation to steal leftovers, which they do to great effect in our camp. They have stolen the dirt bin a few times. And for those who are wondering, a dirt bin, I know I've had this asked before, is a trash can. Okay, I'm going to keep checking where those two other lionesses go. And while we do that, let's go back to Jamie and the royal family.
We are still with the royal family, who are having a royal nap, and Mr. Hosana has found himself with a royal dilemma. So as Karula snoozes quite peacefully, Hosana is up in the tree looking thoroughly disgruntled with life. Hey boy, things are not going your way. Now he really wants to eat that impala, and he can't. He cannot quite figure out how he's going to work this. Where is this cuckoo that just called? Sorry, I'm distracted. Where are you? I've lost it. I can't see it. Sorry, I didn't mean cuckoo. I meant woodpecker. Not very easy to confuse the two of them, but somehow I did. I meant woodpecker that was calling. It must have flown off. It just called from in the tree in front of me, but I can't... No, it's still here. No, now I'm just imagining movement. Okay, I'm sorry. I was trying to spot... I'm going to keep half an eye out for this woodpecker and see if I can spot it. Aha, I see it. Oh, has it? Oh, there's two flying away. There's one that's in there. Well done, VM. Well spotted. Here's the woodpecker. Brief poke of a head, bearded woodpecker. That was the male, and I think the female flew off in a different direction. Awesome. Well done, VM. Thank you for making me feel a little bit better. It was a bearded woodpecker pair. I could hear them calling to each other and it was driving me crazy that I couldn't find them. Right, well, speaking of things driving things crazy, poor Hosana is in such a situation. Now, Leon, Ava, and Johnny, while we look at this gorgeous little leopard cub, you would like to know if the daddy leopard helps to look after the cubs in the same way that the lion daddy does. Does he sometimes play with the cubs? Well, yes, to an extent. So he doesn't try and get food for them. He doesn't help the mommy to catch any of the food, but he will share food with his little babies, and he will also play with them occasionally. Generally, daddy leopards tend to be absent most of the time. They've got a very, very important job to do. They've got to patrol a territory. In other words, keep other male leopards out of that territory. And that's really very important for the protection of their babies. So, no, the daddy leopard doesn't spend too much time with the babies, but yes, if he does happen to encounter them, he will play with them, and he will share food with them. Now, poor Hosana. Perhaps you could use daddy's help, mister, or even mommy's help. He's so hungry. He wants to tuck into the impala, but he just can't quite work out how to do it without knocking it out of the tree and disappointing Mom. You see, it's not a very easy spot for any leopard, and he's just not quite strong enough, no matter how big and strong he has got yet. He's not quite strong enough to pull it back into the tree. What to do? He's sniffing it so carefully. It's just there, but how to get out of this pickle? Now, Francie in Oregon, you want to know, oh, he's going to try again, is he? Oh, goodness. Oh, dear. Yes, perhaps think twice about that particular branch, mister. What have you smelt on these leaves that's so interesting? Probably impala residue. Sorry, Francie, I got distracted from your question. I will answer it in a moment. But he's about to give us another demonstration of his problem-solving abilities. Oh, shame. Oh, dear. He's about to go head over heels out of the tree. I mean, how on earth he's balancing that is the least elegant position I've seen a leopard in a long time. But somehow it's working for him. He's managed to get his head into the carcass itself. And at least he's given up chewing the piece of skin that was holding it on, which was what he was doing earlier. Oh dear, little one. You need Mommy to come and help you, don't you? She's aware of the problem. But sometimes it's best to let kids figure things out all by themselves, isn't it, Karula? And you're on hand in case he drops it. No, don't start chewing that bit of skin. That's not going to work out well at all. Look at him. I actually think I'm going to reposition again. Go back to the... I'm not sure. It's such a tough one. We had a really good position earlier, but if I reposition, we could miss a magic moment. I think let's give it a go. Let's give it a go. Oh, hold on. As I said that, he looks like he's going to stop. As the impala dangles sort of in a macabre fashion beneath him, twirling round and round like some kind of horrifying... What do you call those things? Never mind. I'm not going to finish that thought process. Oh dear. I think... Yes, above a cradle. Kirsty's read my mind. It's a very macabre thought, though. It's a sort of the leopard equivalent, though. What were we talking? Oh yes, we were talking about leopard and lion cub growth rates and whether or not there is a difference. Lions tend to grow faster than leopards. Obviously, they've got a greater size to attain. I'm trying to think if there's a difference in growth spurt times, and yes, I think that lion cubs tend to go through their greatest growth spurt between 6 and 12 months, whereas with leopard cubs, I think it's relatively even, their growth rate, throughout their first 2 years. They do a lot of growing in their first year, of course, naturally, but it's a bit more evenly spread than it is with lion cubs. Lion cubs, to me, go through quite a lot of growth in quite a short period of time. Am I imagining it, or does Hosana look as though he's sulking? Yeah. Mom won't help. Sister's having a nap, and he's got an empty belly. And this is just appalling. Karula? This isn't the first time she will have seen a cub struggling with this very problem, and he's got to learn. He's got to learn to do it all by himself one day. But she is watching just in case he does drop it, because then she's going to sprint in and finish it off. But I think for now, Hosana has given up. Fair enough, he did run the... Oh no, and now a graceless dismount to add insult to injury. That was a heavy thud. Oh dear, this afternoon has just not gone his way. Now what, mister? Glancing up longingly. A tough afternoon in the life of a young leopard. Marie, while we watch young Hosana as he settles down, and I have to be quite honest, I'm hoping to see at least one of the cubs defecate this afternoon. Sorry, that sounds like a terrible sentence, but it's because I would love to collect their scat for Panthera so that we could add them to the DNA database that Panthera keeps of the leopards, and particularly so that they can look into the paternity of these cubs. Marie, who wanted to know if leopards will wash themselves in water or if they keep clean by grooming. So leopards will swim. They will go into water, but not to wash themselves. It will be for a, for a purpose. If they're going after prey or if they're trying to cross a river or something similar, then they will go into water, but they won't go and have a bath. They won't go and bath themselves, which is fair enough, being the cats that they are. They groom themselves to keep clean. That being said, they are covered in ticks and parasites. Oh, hold on. Mom's thinking about pouncing on you. Oh no, she's having a stretch. Are we going to see some more play like we did this morning? Sweet. Half play fighting, half cleaning him. So there you go, Marie. They do clean. They even, in this case, the female will be grooming her young cub, but their saliva carries a huge amount of bacteria, and they will also carry exoparasites. So they're quite dirty creatures. Although they keep themselves quite fastidiously clean as much as they can, they are actually quite smelly up close and personal, which is just the way of the wild. All of the animals are like that. Karula was quite short-lived. Did he get a little bit too boisterous? Right, off you go. You better go and sort out that mess he's created. The footsteps of one resigned mother going to sort out this situation. Or possibly just go and lie down somewhere else. She's examining the situation. Sorry. Standing by.
Jamie, afternoon. Can I join you?
Oh, of course, you're more than welcome. Make your way.
Thanks very much.
So for our new viewers, that was one of the other guides asking if he can come and join the sighting. It's very important that we don't over-pressurize any of the animals out here, which is why there is a limit to the number of vehicles. It's also important that we ask when we approach a sighting, so that if, let's say, something really sensitive was happening right now, let's say Karula's cub was right next to a wild dog and the wild dog hadn't spotted them or something similar, and it was just really important for us to stay still and silent, then in that way I would be able to communicate that to one of the other guides and just say, please don't come in right now. Or let's say Karula was hunting. Don't move right now, don't come in right now, just wait there and I'll let you know when you can. It's just our way of making sure that our impact is negligible. Here comes Hosana, having had a play fight with Mum. He is about to go and pounce on his sister. Slowly but surely. Oh no, there's too many things to look at because now Karula's going up the tree. Wait, let's stay with the cubs. We'll stay with the cubs for 1 second as he pounces on her. Or, you know, just walks on top of her. And then sits on her. That's not very polite at all, mister. And flop down. Right, let's go and have a look at Karula sorting out the situation that her cubs have put her in. Let's see if she's any better at this than Hosana is. Oh, too much happening here. There's a harrier hawk flying overhead. There's Karula pulling the kill into the tree. Let's watch her do this. I'll keep an eye on where the harrier hawk goes. Oh dear. This is a tricky spot, isn't it, Karula? Luckily you've got a bit more strength than your... Oh, shame. Oh dear, that wasn't very easy, was it? Well done, clever girl. Much better, sort of. Not the most stable of branches, but at least it's up. That'll do. Well done, girl. Well done, Karula. Problem solved and crisis averted. In the meantime, her cubs have been distracted by each other. Hosana did look up when Mom first pulled it back into the tree, but now he's distracted by playing with his sister. Head to head and claw to claw. Look at the difference in size. This is such a perfect opportunity to look at the difference in size of their heads and their paws. No. It's because he heard me say that. Well, it does give us quite a nice opportunity to just compare them when they're lying side by side. And there is a considerable size difference between the two of them. Oh, she's so gorgeous. She really is such a beautiful little leopard. Right, you might have heard me muttering about a harrier hawk. It's flown away, unfortunately. So I have been keeping an eye on it. It has disappeared. So we'll stick with our leopard action for now. Hosana resting his head very comfortably on the termite mound. Now he's got to wait his turn. He's lost his opportunity. He didn't succeed, so now he's got to wait for Mom to finish feeding. And put up with being clawed by his sister. Since things have settled for now with the royal family, hold on, grappling. I just want to get the two paws side by side. There we go. We did get the two paws side by side. Look at the difference there in the size of the toes. It's a massive difference. For two cubs that are the same age, just a male and a female. Oh, that's so beautiful. Okay. Doesn't stop her from getting one up over her brother, though, does it? As our two little leopard cubs settle in for their nap, let's head across to Brent and find out how he's doing with his lion and elephant search.
We're over lions and elephants. We're now in search of the great spotted cuckoo. We've got it on camera 3 times, but it keeps flying away. Now, the last time they landed was around here. I got a very distinct call, and as soon as I heard it, it's the first time I've heard it this year. I'll play it for you quickly. And we managed to spot them in the knobthorn trees. We've literally been chasing them up and down. Answer me, answer me. So that's the call I heard initially. That choo, choo. Now they've vanished. Oh dear. What can you do? Birds fly away. Not calling anymore, are they? Anyway, I think, since we haven't seen those lions, I think they're in this thicket here somewhere. I think we're going to go on a cuckoo safari. Yes, we're going to only look for cuckoos. Cuckoo! Cuckoo! We're calling, Dave, we need to call the cuckoos. Come, cuckoo! Cuckoo! So today I've heard Jedricks for the first time and great spotted for the first time. This is the area that I saw the thick-billed in a few days. No, it's a Franklin calling. The thick-billed cuckoo in a few days ago. That's not a cuckoo, that's a hornbill. We're not after hornbills, we're only after cuckoos. And I expect Dave to go cuckoo every once a minute on drive till we find the first cuckoo. There we go. It's like our timer for finding cuckoos. Again, not a cuckoo, but it is sitting in a tree. It's a velvet monkey. And does it have a little baby? Looks like it does. Or is it just sitting funny? What do you think, Dave? It's just sitting funny. We got some velvet monkeys in the tree. There we go. Eating knobthorn blossoms. We are definitely sure there are no leopards around. Otherwise they'd be shouting from their treetops. Now this is surprisingly good birding weather. It's slightly overcast, slightly humid weather. Okay, well let's carry on. No cuckoos in that tree. James Dungan is wondering, with all the flowers on the trees and... Sorry, I saw a bird. I'm just trying to see if it was a cuckoo. I don't think it was a cuckoo. James is wondering, are the bees more pronounced with all the flowers and pollen around? Not particularly, James. They're always around. The one thing that will be more pronounced at the moment is the wasps, the moths, and the butterflies. I think I know where we should go look for some cuckoos in the Mawati River. That's a good place for cuckoos. Nice tall trees. Hello, nyalas. You also like the river. Still looking a bit puffed up from all the rain. Again, I'm listening for cuckoos. There's an impala as well. Yeah, let's keep on our search. Now, even though we might not find cuckoos, oh, look at that. It's another, I found one of these the other day. Okay, you see it, Dave? It's a wasp's nest. Can you believe that? Now, we found one the other day. I collected that and gave it and put it into the tent for jams. And now, it is one of the spider hunting wasps that make that massive nest. So those big purple buzzers that sound like helicopters. Now, inside that there is incredibly probably maybe 100 caterpillars or 100 spiders. And the eggs of that wasp have been laid in there. Now this one, you see it's already hatched, like the other one we found. And strangely enough, it was also on a spike thorn bush. I wonder if that's a common trait. We'll have to look it up. It's one of the spider hunting or potter wasps that have built that incredible nest. Now that's big. That's about the size of a tennis ball. Nice casing for the young wasps to have a meal of still stunned but alive caterpillars or spiders, and then have a nice easy start to life in that protected area. Now, I was wondering if those lionesses were going to come down here. It doesn't look like they have, since they're nyalas. And I'm deeply disappointed that the great spotted cuckoo got away from us. Now, it's not a cuckoo we see often. I think 3 times the whole of last year's wet season. So quite a rare one. Hopefully they will play ball a little later. And so while we continue our search for cuckoos, there we go. One more time, Dave. There we go. Let's go back to the queen who's not so cuckoo.
She's definitely not a cuckoo, and does a fantastic job of raising her own offspring, which is, I suppose, more than we can say for most cuckoos. Karula is tucking into the impala now that she's managed to fling it back into the tree. And there was almost a fling motion to that end part of it as she yanked it back up, giving us a true demonstration of the sheer power of these animals. It's impressive that she managed to get it up into the tree to start with, since it is an adult male impala. But luckily she's doing a good job of making up for any energy lost during that whole process. Now we will, after this, the next few minutes, we've still got some time. We've probably got about 10 minutes left with them before we have to pull out for one of the other vehicles. We got to make space for other vehicles that want to come in and have a look at this amazing sighting. She's busy crunching around the nose area of the impala. You could hear that crunch there quite audibly. I'm not sure if you could hear it, but you can actually as we sit here, at one point or another, I think we should just sit and listen to the audible sound as she chews on the bones. Well, somebody just started their vehicle, so that's definitely not going to work right now. So while we wait for that opportunity, Shelley, you wanted to know, are Karula's cubs big enough to defend themselves against some of the smaller predators like baboons and hyenas? No. Sorry, big enough to defend themselves. No, they're not. Not yet. I think that a hyena would probably be surprised by the ferocity of the cub, but ultimately they still wouldn't stand a chance, to be completely honest with you, and the same goes for them up against a male baboon. An adult male baboon is just far too large and far too strong, and with canines the size of their mothers, they really wouldn't be able to fight it off or to fight back, especially because once the adult male baboon started, the rest of the troop would join in as well. Unless the cubs managed to get to the top of a tree, which is their best defense, they wouldn't be able to fight off a baboon. But once they're on the top of a tree, on the edge of a branch, they will be able to, nobody wants to face the business end of any leopard, even an 8-month-old leopard cub. You don't want to find yourself in that precarious position whilst perched on a branch. So even a baboon will think twice about tackling them once they're on the edge of a branch and there's only one approach to them, and that's through their teeth and their claws. You'll find that they'll have an entirely different approach to the way that they go about things. So no, not quite yet. Even Karula would... Her speed and her strength, I think, would be to her advantage of any adult leopard. Anything like a hyena or a baboon would be hard-pressed to actually keep a grip on her long enough to do any serious damage. It's horrible to talk about, but it's something we did mention in the tent this morning. What would have happened if Karula had caught up with those wild dogs, or if they had caught up with her, and what would have happened to Tingane if that lioness had managed to catch him? And how fast these leopards move and their sheer power. I still think pound for pound, they are the most powerful animal out here, powerful predator. There you go, Karula. You played your cards right. Waited for your son to get bored, and now you've got the meal all to yourself for now. There you go. You can probably hear that crunching now as her teeth scrape along the bone. There's still a head and neck and a little bit of the shoulders. Not too much, though. I don't think that she's going to be here. She might be here tomorrow morning. I think they'll definitely be gone by tomorrow afternoon. But this carcass, I would say, would be pretty much well and truly finished by the start of the sunrise safari tomorrow morning. We'll have to get lucky, which is why I think spending as much time as possible with them is ideal, because there's a good chance she's very close to the southern boundary. There's a good chance she's going to go across it. There, she's broken off, I think it's one of the rib bones, most likely one of the rib bones, and she's now repositioning in her mouth to try and get a good grip on, so that she can strip away the meat. That doesn't look so nice, Karula. Doesn't look like the tastiest bit of the impala that you could have grabbed. This isn't working out too well. I hope you're getting some amazing screenshots, because you could actually Photoshop that food out and make it look as though Karula was pulling the most amazing faces. She could be singing. She could be singing karaoke. Really belting it out, if you ignore the piece of food that's in her mouth. Awesome. Rebecca in Final Control has suggested My Love Will Go On. I was thinking something Andrew Lloyd Webberish, perhaps from the musical Cats. No, maybe not. Memories. Anyway, sorry, that was a very strange thought that I had there, but it actually stemmed from a sighting I once had with a giraffe that was chewing on a piece of bone, and it really did look as though he was singing. It was incredible. Anyway, while I was talking nonsense, she's managed to consume that entire bone, and she looks as though she actually swallowed most of it whole. I didn't see her crunching it. If she just managed to get it at the right angle that she felt comfortable enough to get it down into her digestive system, which does just go to show how truly resilient their digestive systems are to cope with massive shards of bone like that one. I'm really enjoying the leopard sightings at the moment with the green. I don't know, it's a nice contrast. The fresh green leaves and the green grass. Not that I don't enjoy leopard sightings when it's brown and dusty, but it's just nice to have a little bit of fresh green contrast. I was also hoping that if we sat here for long enough, Tingana might decide to rock up. But since we do have to, or we will have to leave the sighting in the next 5 or so minutes, we'll probably just go look for him actively, as opposed to passively sitting here and waiting for him to pitch up. I have a suspicion it was him calling that I heard this afternoon. It's difficult to gauge a direction, though. And a very good question from Bob and Laura. You wanted to know what leopard sawing is. Is it a call of some kind? It's actually a leopard roar. So as part of the Panthera family, they are roaring cats, much like lions, but they don't make that deep booming sound. They make a sawing sound. Now, I would love to do it for you. There is another vehicle in the sighting with guests, and I think they're going to look at me very strangely if I do. But to do a very half-hearted, very quiet impression, it sort of sounds like this. Nope, no strange looks from one strange look from the other vehicle. So it sounds like somebody using a bow saw, hence the name sawing, leopard sawing. And it can be quite loud. I mean, it'll cover a good couple of kilometers, unless the wind is blowing it away from you. So that both leopard males and females do it. It's a way of marking territory. It's just like a lion roaring. It's their equivalent. And to see it, to actually have a leopard sawing next to you is really a truly special experience. And I hope that as you become regular Safari Live addicts, as I have no doubt that you will join us for some of those magic moments. I mean, we've had Tingana sawing right next to the vehicle. We've had Karula sawing next to the vehicle. She's been, I was going to say she's been more silent. I don't know if that's entirely fair. We haven't heard her as often just because I think she's spent a bit more time to the south of her territorial region. And she still comes up to the north every now and again and saws away, making sure that any other females in the area know that this is not available. This is her territory. So all of our leopards do it. One of the things that we've got to see with leopards and with lions and hyena. With lions, when the lions start to roar, the cubs start to join in. It's adorable. They all start going. I'm not going to make any more strange noises. I'm getting embarrassed now. And with hyena, we've also seen them do it. I don't know if cast your mind back to that amazing moment that I think it was Kirsty reminded me of, where November, one of the hyena cubs, was learning to whoop and was doing these adorable little imitations of the adults going, ooh, ooh. It was very clearly imitation behavior. So the line of thought that I'm following is I've never seen a leopard cub try it. I've never ever seen a leopard cub try and imitate the adults, but then I suppose the adults tend not to soar when they're with their cubs, just in terms of not drawing attention to them. They tend to be out and about on their own, not being restricted by little bumbling cubs playing around them. And it's just an interesting thought that the more social creatures, the cubs start to imitate the adults very quickly, whereas in a solitary leopard, they don't. I don't know, do any of you know of any examples of baby leopards or leopard cubs trying to soar? I'd be fascinated to hear if you do. I can't think of any off the top of my head. I've certainly never seen it. She's managed to get hold of the spinal column and is now using her spurred tongue to strip away the meat from the bone and combining it with the carnassial shears. Well, I think it is time for us to say goodbye to the royal family. There is another vehicle on its way. I'll try and get back here before the end of the sunset safari, but while we make our way out, let's head back across to Brent.
Cuckoo! Still no cuckoos, but we're still on the search. We're on our way towards the Mawati River. Now, what cuckoo species we're looking for down there is the black cuckoo. I'm so sad. We are looking for the Deirdre's cuckoo. I can't really whistle that one. Deirdre. We are looking for the classes cuckoo. Mikey, which means friend in Afrikaans. We're looking for the thick-billed cuckoo, which is sort of sounds like a Deirdre's cuckoo that might have stayed up a little bit too late in a house of ill repute. Maybe not quite like that, but the thick-billed cuckoo, and of course the red-chested cuckoo. I'm not even going to attempt a Le Valence or a striped cuckoo or a Jacobin, but we are on a cuckoo hunt. And will we find a cuckoo? Hopefully we'll find more than just Dave and myself going, cuckoo, cuckoo, for the rest of drive. Now, when looking for cuckoos, it's always good to look high up in the tree. Is that a cuckoo, Dave? I don't think so. What is that at the top of the tree, Dave? Oh, that way. Is it? A red-billed buffalo weaver. Not a cuckoo. And it's a flying red-billed buffalo weaver. I wonder what other birds we'll encounter on our search for a cuckoo. Oh, it's something. I should have a look at things here.
Are you still heading with it?
No.
Out. You can go there.
Sorry about the open comms. We are still trying to fix our new communication system. Although I will tell you, FC sounds quite amusing with the digital radio. Kirsten sounds like she's about 94. And knitting. I just heard a no. Sounds like she's knitting in between talking to us on the radio. Okay, so cuckoos like to sit quite high in trees, and one of the reasons they've arrived in force at the moment is because of this little bit of rain. So their favorite food is caterpillars. So inchworms and caterpillars are the different moth and butterfly species. So that's what they're in search for. And sometimes you can even see them with sort of 5 caterpillars in their mouth. They're real greedy gutsers, cuckoos. Of course, they are brood parasites. Now, if you don't know what a brood parasite is, actually, why don't one of you guys out there tell me what a brood parasite is? If you know what a brood parasite is, send the answers through to #SafariLive on Twitter or questions@wildearth.tv. What is a brood parasite? Well, let's hope we can find some cuckoos, because we're not finding any elephants, that's for sure. Wow, thank you very much, Joanne in Arizona. There's an African cuckoo that's been calling around the Djuma pan, and so we might have to take a meander up towards the Djuma camp and the Djuma pan to see if we can find the elusive African cuckoo. Of course, we also get European cuckoos here. Now, they look very similar to the African cuckoo. You've got to look at their bills to differentiate them. And of course, they are silent. They don't go cuckoo. Thank you, Dave. They do go cuckoo when they're back home in Europe, but in Africa, they're silent. Dave thought I was trying to catch him out there. Now, one of the reasons the black cuckoo are around a river system like the Mawati is because... Oh no, I nearly gave away the answer to things. Oh, quiet, Leo Smith. Ears out. Do we hear any cuckoos? Oxpeckers, go-away birds, doves, bush shrikes, boo-boo shrikes. But not a cuckoo in sight. Wow, they were so noisy earlier on. I'm hoping they're just having a quick rest, a quick rehabilitation before coming out blaring. Well done, Dina. Spot on. 100% correct. A brood parasite, which all the cuckoos are, will kick out the eggs of the host bird species, then lay their own and get the other birds to raise their babies for them. Now, the reason I said the black cuckoo likes river systems like the Mawati is its host species in this part of the world is the southern boo-boo, which is a shrike that lives around the riverine thickets. So the black cuckoos are always in search of a boo-boo. Okay, we are now in the Mawati River. Seems like there have been some buffalo down here. And we can hear, not a cuckoo, but nevertheless a very beautiful bird. Let's see if we can spot it. Coffee, tea or me? Coffee, tea or me? The orange-breasted bush shrike. Sounds like he's up ahead there somewhere. Oh, look at this. This is the first sign. It was a bit early, but this is the first sign I've seen of elephants digging up in the Mawati. I think the water table is still a little bit low for that. And we can hear very clearly that orange-breasted bush shrike. Of course, now he keeps quiet. Let's go for a bit. Of course, if we're in the Mawati River, we might as well look for the nemesis bird. It's such a nemesis, I don't even want to say its name. Dave, what are we looking for?
The white-throated robin.
Chat. Yes, the white-throated robin chat. We've only managed to get on camera once. So this is where I would... There he is. As I said, where that orange-breasted bush shrike is. Okay. Lower. A little bit lower. A little bit higher. In that little thicket there. Just wait for the movement. There he is, well spotted. There's the beautiful orange-breasted bush shrike we heard calling. The one who says, coffee, tea or me? Obviously my impression doesn't do it justice. Oh, to the left, left, left. Hopefully it'll show us the reason it's got that name. It's got an absolutely stunning, striking breast. Don't be shy now. Now they are a shy species. They are, whoops, there we go. There you can see the orange. They are what we call a skulking species. So they're generally in thickets around the the rivers and they hop around like this one's doing, giving Dave a hard time. Where did it hop to, Dave? It's hopped out of view. Bye, orange-breasted bushshrike. There you go, nice to spot it, especially after hearing it calling. So while we continue our search for the elusive cuckoos of Djuma, Jamie's got something a bit bigger and a bit smellier.
Well, as Brent said, a little bit smellier, but not in a bad way. They just smell like a herd of cattle moving through the area. We didn't have far to go from Karula before we stumbled upon this buffalo herd on their way to Treehouse Dam for a drink. I've found myself behind them. I'm going to have to just wait as they steadily, slowly but surely make their way towards the dam. But we'll keep pace with them and catch up with them when they go and have a drink. It's a tiny herd. There's probably only, unless there's more ahead of me that I'm not aware of, there's probably only about, I would say, 30, probably even less individuals in this breeding herd, which suggests to me almost immediately that it's one of the splinter groups that we've been seeing. Now, essentially what happens very often when buffalo get chased at night by lions, it's panic, pandemonium. They don't know where their others are, they can't catch up with them, their herding instinct sticks with them, so they stay with whoever's running in front of them. And as a result, they often end up completely separated from the rest of the herd, which is why it's not uncommon to occasionally find one or two females on their own completely with a group of males, for example, or just this little herd that we have here. And that, I think, is where this group's come from. I'm just checking them out because we've become accustomed to doing that with each and every buffalo herd that we see. They're not in terrible condition. Some of them are a little bit thin, but we have seen some buffalo herds that are looking far, far worse. So this herd is amongst some of the luckier ones, I think, that perhaps managed to find themselves some okay food to feed off. There's more here. Some of them have already been for a drink. Here we go. A big old female walking along. You can still see them browsing every now and again. So, in other words, eating the leaves from trees instead of their usual diet of just grass. That's because, well, there's not very much in the way of grass to sustain them. And the rest of them coming out of Treehouse Dam, those that have already managed to have a drink. There's some very nice looking young bulls as well, like the one on the left. He's going to be a fine specimen when he's fully grown. The younger buffalo tend to have less in the way of a skin condition. They've also got a reddishy brown tinge to their coats that starts to darken as they get older. So that, for example, is a youngish female. I say youngish, I couldn't give you an exact age without asking her to open wide and having a look at her teeth. But she's probably only maybe a couple of years, maybe 3 or 4 years at the most. Okay, so there's more than I thought. Quite a lot more than I thought. We must have just caught up with the stragglers at the back. Now there's a whole load of them coming out of Treehouse Dam. Well, speaking about ages of buffalo, here's an oldish female keeping a very close eye on me. You can see she's quite dark in colour, and she's lost most of the fur around her face. Hello, old girl. She just looks as though she's been through the wars a little bit. Those balding patches are often caused by fungal infections or other skin infections, but can also be caused by rubbing their faces to scratch itchy spots against trees and branches and various rubbing posts. She's standing ruminating. Wow. Okay. I take back what I said about there being 30 individuals. There's a beautiful buffalo. Very deep, rich colour.
Thank you very much. It's marked on lock now.
Copy that. Thanks very much. There's Nyala Here, Treehouse Dam. Slowly mobile north. All kinds of faces popping up. Okay. Right, so we'll take back our previous estimate of under 20 and go with something probably closer to about 50 buffalo moving about this area. I'm not going to do a head count, if you'll forgive me. That might take us a little bit of time. I'm going to reposition to see if there's any more drinking on the other side. Trying not to block the group that still hasn't had a drink yet. Hello. Hello, Flows. I love the way that buffalo look at you. I wouldn't call their expression inquisitive, but it is watchful. Yes, you're also going to be a fine young male when you're bigger. If you manage to escape the Nkuhumas. Not a bad-looking boy at all. Oh, speaking of the Nkuhumas, just in terms of distance, this herd of buffalo is probably about, I would say, a good 2 kilometers away from where the Nkuhumas are now. So the Nkuhumas would be completely unaware of their presence. That being said, a herd of buffalo is not a stealthy unit. There's usually a lot more noise than we're hearing now. There's a lot of mooing, a lot of sort of calling to each other, lots of braying, and then of course the cracking and the breaking of branches as they move through an area, which is generally what will attract the attentions of the lionesses or the lion prides of the area. And you never know, we haven't accounted for all of the Birmingham boys, so there could well be one moving behind this herd. And welcome to Leon, who is a new viewer and watching these buffalo in the herd. He wanted to know, would a buffalo feel more lonely or vulnerable if it was alone than if it were with the rest of the herd? And yes, absolutely they do. Typically the females are always found in some kind of herd, usually in a breeding herd of multiple buffalo, often up to 1,000 in number. Did he stick his horns in wet paint or something? That looks bizarre. This is rubbed bare patches. From a distance, it looks as though their splodges were almost white.
The paint's coming off and it's a steel.
Yes, it is. It's like it's peeling back and he's got steel underneath his horns. I'm sorry, Leon. I got distracted. Oh. A little bit of a tiff between two females there. That's what I was talking about, that sort of moof sound from the different buffalo. Leon, the one thing that you will find, though, is what we refer to in South Africa as dugger boys. And they will be on their own, and they often prefer their own solitude or their own company. And they're either found in small herds or they're found on their own, resting in mud wallows. And that's one of the things that makes them probably one of the most dangerous animals to encounter on foot, is the fact that because they are alone, they're easily startled, and they are quite aggressive when they are frightened like that. So it's old buffalo bulls that have left the protection of the herd, have decided they prefer their own company, like these two who are randomly going off in the wrong direction. I think perhaps they're just going to Treehouse for a drink. So dugger boy means mud boy, from their habit of lying in the mud wallows themselves. So they're the only buffalo that you will find on their own, but as I said, it does really make them feel... I don't want to block off this buffalo's path. It does make them feel more vulnerable, and as a result, often more defensive in terms of their behavior. Now this buffalo is about to drink, and if we want to just sit and watch that quickly as the two of them come down. Not quite the spectacle of the teeming herds making their way down towards a waterhole, though. And Treehouse Dam, despite our downpour, is looking decidedly depleted. There they go. Here comes a little calf, trotting forward. As they are incredibly water-dependent creatures, they need to drink every day, and if they can, they'll drink twice a day, in the morning and then in the afternoon as well. Helps to aid their digestive system. They do not do well in arid areas. In fact, you generally don't find them in arid areas. Here we go, 3 different age groups, and one male at the back, one female in the middle, and then a tiny little male calf. Probably only about a year old. Okay, we're going to move on, see if we can catch up with Tingana, if indeed it was Tingana moving about when I heard him call. I just don't think that Karula would have been the one to call right next to her kill. So while I go and investigate that, let's head back over to Brent and find out how his cuckoo search is going.
Cuckoo! Dave, you missed your cue. Dave, you missed your cue. I'm so disappointed in you, Dave. So disappointed. So very disappointed. Anyway, we did hear a cuckoo, one we haven't seen yet this year. And again, it flew off. A Deirdre's cuckoo. Oh, is that a Deirdre? Oh, it is. I think it is. Oh dear, it's just through the most terrible thicket. It was a Deirdre's cuckoo. A very pretty cuckoo. I will play his song for you. Very pretty song. One that I'm sure quite a few of you will recognize from last rainy season. I think the best chance is going to be through cuckoos. Very pretty bird as well. That is the Deirdre's cuckoo. Oh. Okay, guys, no, I saw it land in there, but right at the back. Well, he's disappeared, so we have to keep saying cuckoo. Well done, Dave, you got it down. And as I said, it's a very pretty bird. There we go, emerald and white with a very distinct orange eye. So that's the male, there's the female. These cuckoos are just being cuckoo today. Dave thought that was funny. I thought that was quite a bad joke. I mean, it got Dave to laugh at least. So I think we're going to have to start making our way back towards the Djuma dam camp, see if that African cuckoo is still cuckooing around there. Now, I'll tell you a funny story about cuckoos and James Henry. Now, one of James Henry's favorite things to do to new safari guides. So you have to do a thing called an assessment drive, which is possibly the most terrible and terrifying thing you could ever do to a trainee guide. Can you imagine having 8 or 9 of us sitting behind you, firing questions? Jumping off the back. I hear a cuckoo. Pit me through. Now, interesting about that is a red-chested cuckoo. I'm going to try find it now. This is the very spot where we see our nemesis bird, but never managed to get it on camera, the white-throated robin chat. And the red-chested cuckoo is one of his brood parasites. So they actively look out for different robins to lay their eggs in the robin's nest, even though they are twice the size of a robin. Okay, Dave. Oh, he's taunting us! Back into the Mawati we go. One more cuckoo for luck. 1, 2, 3. Cuckoo! don't fly away, please. I can't keep going cuckoo for the rest of the drives. That's the agreement we have. So we put a cuckoo on the screen. We have to keep going cuckoo. It sounded like it was calling from these copse of trees here. Why did you stop calling? We'll go on the little 2-track out. Maybe our luck will change there. So I was telling you a story about James. Now, one of James's favourite things to do to trainee guides was, you know, when you're supposed to go at the beginning of the safari, you go, welcome guys, how are you? What would you like to see? Would you like to see lions or leopards or elephants? And of course, these poor children are absolutely pooping themselves. I mean, they've got sort of 9 senior staff sitting behind them, probably all of which, including the lodge managers, have probably spent more time in the bush than they have at this case. They've just finished their training course. And James's favourite question when asked what he wanted to see on the safari, he would say, I want to see cuckoos. And then of course the nerves would take over, and this poor little safari guide would be trying to do his best to use all the information he's got about impala or a zebra or a tree or a blade of grass. And then it comes to the end of the drive in the feedback session. James goes, not once did you show me a cuckoo. And they would feel so horrible and horrified. But I'm beginning to feel a bit like them today, because we can't seem to find the cuckoos. We can hear them. Of course, James also used to ask this question in the middle of winter where there wasn't a cuckoo present. So the elephants have knocked over the tree across the road, so we have to go around the termitaria. Elephants have been doing a lot of road rearranging recently, and we've had to do a lot of rounding of the roads. But it has, let me just go forward a bit. It is definitely not a cuckoo, but it is a bird. We'll take that for now. Now, we've got the pale morph warburgs that nest at close to the Djuma pan, and down near Twin Dams we've got dark morph warburg, the eagles that nest down here. So there's one, the male sitting pretty, watching down. Hello, mister. And slightly to his left is the female sitting on the nest. Now, of course, the cuckoos have gone silent. Can you hear sunbirds? Now, Marianne is wondering when the weavers, Marianne's in Arkansas, when the weavers will start making their lovely bald nests. It all depends on local rainfall, etc. The buffalo weavers have already started, so have the red-headed weavers, but I think you're talking about the masked weavers that generally nest over water. So I think it's still a while, still probably another month they might. It is not, no it's not, I don't think it is. It is of course a starling, and it is a lesser blue-eared starling. A greater blue-eared starling, sorry. Up there. Quickly, Dave, quickly. Is it a cuckoo? Let us look. It is not, it is a wattled starling. Oh dear. Male wattled starling. Where's the rest of your flock? You're not supposed to be hanging around solo. Oh dear. these cuckoos. And we can't even hear any calling. Okay, we've got to at least get the African cuckoo on camera today. Oh, elephants, why do you keep making this road so difficult? Okay. Let us head towards the pan to look for the African cuckoo. Now, of course, I'm hoping we stumble across any other cuckoos on the way. Now, in particular, I'm really after two cuckoo species, the great spotted that evaded us earlier, and of course, the thick-billed, which will also be another nice one. Now, there is a cuckoo that has been seen in the Sabi Sands very few times, and it is one of the most difficult of the cuckoos to see. It is also one of the most beautiful of the cuckoos. It is, of course, the African emerald cuckoo. There's only a handful of recordings of them in the low veld. They generally prefer to be a bit higher. Now, they have a call as well. Pretty, Georgie. Very pretty. Now, that coloration on them makes it incredibly difficult. So I'm going to stop it. To spot. You wouldn't believe how that sort of coloration absolutely makes them disappear in a big green tree, especially in a forest. So they're one of the hardest of the cuckoo species to see. Okay, let's keep moving. Did you get any messages there, Dave? I just heard static. Okay, moving. Okay, while we continue our search for cuckoos, let's go across to someone who's certainly not as cuckoo as Dave and myself.
That's a compliment, I guess, not being cuckoo. Anyway, maybe I heard that wrong, but I think I heard that right. Anyway, I've checked out the southern boundary, and luckily the space has cleared up at the Karula sighting, so we can actually go back there and enjoy the rest of the sunset safari with her. As I said, there's a good chance she's not going to be around for tomorrow. Maybe the sunrise safari, probably not the sunset safari, unless she decides to stay on Djuma. I think it's worth spending as much time as we possibly can. I haven't had any luck with any leopard tracks, so I don't know if maybe the leopard was calling further than I realized. Maybe Tingana didn't walk on the roads. That is a mystery that I think will only be solved perhaps tonight if you keep your eye on the Djuma Dam camera, since that is a regular pathway that Tingana walks. He often goes past, it's on his regular territorial marking route, his patrol route. So keep an eye on the Djuma Dam camera tonight. There's a chance he might show up. He's sort of been missing in action for a little while. A couple of days ago he was on Buffelshoek and we hadn't heard anything more since. Hopefully he decides to pay us a visit soon. Right. I haven't gone very far this afternoon, but I'm definitely not complaining. Let's pop in back and see what Karula's up to. Just bear with me a second. I just need to check if Mike is still there. Mike for Jamie.
Standing by, Jamie.
Mike, did you leave that Ingwe lock?
Hey, firm. I left one station on lock, Jamie.
Copy that, thank you. Station with the Ingwe for Jamie.
Right.
Copy that, thanks very much. So again, same process as earlier. She might be hunting something, I don't know. So it's important to just double check that it's appropriate for us to go in before we do. And you'll see it do it with all of the sightings that we go and visit. Okay. Oh, wonderful. Looks like we might have 2 leopards in a tree. Maybe perhaps finally Hosana after his disastrous attempts from earlier, has decided to come up and try feeding now that Mom's fixed the mess he made. That's not Hosana at all. Sorry, I'm just trying to think. Let me go forward a little bit. We'll get Karula and Xongile by the looks of it. Karula's obviously finished enjoying her meal, and now her little daughter's tucking in. Although thoroughly irritated by the flies. What a beautiful image that is. Sorry, just fixing my microphone a little bit. Seems to have gone for a little bit of a walk. Here we go. You can see little one in a much better position than her brother when we last saw him feeding. She's found herself the perfect spot. Definitely much improved. Gib, while we watch our leopards finish off what's left of their impala meal, you want to know how long does it take a leopard to finish their prey. It depends on what they've killed and how many leopards we're talking about. So if this was just Karula, she'd probably have taken, I would say, a good 3 days, maybe even 4 days to finish off the adult impala. But because she has 2 cubs with her, it's basically, thinking about it, between Hosana and Xongile, they basically have the appetite of about, well, 1 leopard. So she's basically feeding 2, herself and her 2 cubs. So 1 adult impala lasts only about 2 days. If it's a daker and the leopard is particularly hungry, it can be gone in 20 minutes. A tiny little antelope species. And then again, depends on if we're talking male or female. Obviously the males being, there's a massive sexual dimorphism between male and female leopards, males being much, much larger. So obviously they will, it was quite the thump, Karula. She came down the tree, and she actually gave a little bit of a pant there as well. I think she's looking for her little boy. She gave a gentle chuff. I don't know if she gave a chuff or she just landed heavily. She did make a sound as she hit the ground. And so, little Princess X is up in the tree, munching on her impala. Let's see if you're any better at this than your brother was earlier. You've got a slight advantage. Mom's managed to pull it into a slightly easier position. But, that being said, Mom's also eaten most of the good bits that were available. And now Xongile is presented with a bit of a problem. Again, she's not going to be strong enough to pull that up, so she just has to try and contort herself across it so that she can feed. There's just one little eye watching us. And on a warm, still day like today, And the flies have certainly gathered around that impala. They're irritating her, and those that are displaced from the impala are flying into our vehicle. You can see she's not happy about them. Oh, she runs the risk of causing the same problem her brother did. She just they don't quite have the strength yet. She's going to, the more she feeds on the small bits that are left, the greater the chance that she's actually going to dislodge the carcass once again. For now, though, she's found a relatively good spot. A very round belly hanging over the marula tree that she settled on. And Paul, absolutely, they amaze me too. Paul has said that leopards amaze him with their balance and their climbing ability. Isn't it incredible, especially when you think how young and inexperienced these cubs are? I mean, look, they've been climbing since they were a couple of weeks old and perfecting the art since they were about 2 months old. But look at how dainty that was. Uh-oh. I mean, that takes some serious skill. It's basically, imagine if you had to try and eat your dinner with no knives and forks hanging from a marula tree with your claws. It's not all that easy. Especially since the impala meat's quite tough for tiny teeth and tiny jaws. So it's difficult for them to really get in there properly. Wow. That was an impressive display of strength. She hasn't thought it through, though, because that impala ram's horns are going to get stuck. But that was seriously impressive. She nearly got that back into the tree. Yes, go on. Show your brother how it's done. You can see her levering herself with her back legs. Oh, shame. That was a valiant effort, girl. Sitting down, frustrated, in a way very reminiscent of the way her brother did a little bit earlier. Not to be deterred.
Stations,
That's amazing.
Bogot 1 BC, Gallagher shortcut. Near the old den, looked like she was quite dirty. I don't know if she's established an area there or packed there, but yeah, just an update.
Look at her. I'm very impressed with these two leopard cubs. It's not an easy job. They're managing to perform it relatively admirably. I mean, look at that balance she's demonstrating. Her whole upper body is off the tree completely and resting on the impala carcass. And she's worked out, because it's at a better angle than for her brother earlier, she's worked out that by sort of wedging herself in that fork, she can actually get a good enough grip to feed. Look at how hard her triceps are working to pull that carcass up and towards her mouth. You can actually see them flexing and bulging. It's impressive. Well done, big girl. No way. Oh, so close. Oh, that was so close. You just have to learn to figure out the battle of the horns and the ribcage, girl, and you've got it. Almost. got a very determined look on her face. Always alert. Right, time to try again. Now hanging almost upside down to feed. Sure, what an exhausting way to eat your dinner. I'm glad I don't have to perform those acrobatics every time it's mealtime. I almost want to go and help her, just pull it up into the tree. But luckily these cubs are very, very well fed. 2 impalas in 4 days plus a deka. They are not going to go hungry. And knowing Karula, she'll be back out on the hunt very, very soon. If you can see the frustration. Look at the way her back leg is contorted to hold herself up there. Oh, such frustration. She's not deterred though. She's going again. And there's actually, I mean, there's really no way that she can succeed at doing this. Not because she's not just because she's not strong enough, because obviously she is. She's very nearly done it, but because the horns, oh dear, the horns and the ribcage, just everything's a little bit too badly angled for her to be able to manage it. There's that fork in the tree. It's going to be really very difficult. While we watch them tuck into their 2-day-old impala, Shelley, yes, absolutely, a leopard will scavenge, and we've seen them do it on a regular basis. My most recent example is actually with Karula and her 2 cubs, where we had the wild dogs dash underneath them, kill an nyala, finish off most of the nyala, and then dash off again. And Karula jumped out of the tree and raced across, grabbed the leftovers of the kill, and went and hoisted it next to her bushbuck with such a proud, I don't know, I'm anthropomorphizing a bit, but she really did look exceptionally proud of herself. We've also seen Mvula, on our Father's Day shows, chase hyenas off a buffalo carcass and scavenge from it. We've seen Karula and Tingana scavenge off a buffalo carcass, Shambambalana off a buffalo carcass on cheetah plains. So yes, absolutely, leopards are not adverse to scavenging at all. They are more than happy to. A free meal is a free meal, and they're not fussy about rotten meat. Wild dogs and cheetah are slightly fussier about the quality of the meat they eat. They'll still scavenge, but it has to be quite fresh. Leopards and lions have no such problems. So while Xongile struggles again to wrench the carcass back into the tree, let's go across to Brent and see what he's looking at.
Look at this. So we're actually right next to a herd of elephants at the Djuma Pan, but this is not something we see too often. Nyalas actually locking horns. So they generally prefer to have the dance-off, the who's prettier than who competition. And when they do fight, it can get very aggressive. So this is unusual behavior. I don't want to get too close. There you go, you can see the old final control in the background. So nyalas particularly try to avoid physical confrontation, and as I said, they try and do that sort of standoff. And we're about isn't looking too serious. I have seen them a bit more serious, but these things can escalate very quickly, especially with animals that don't normally physically encounter each other like this. Penny is wondering, do they have ivory at the tip of their horns? No, it's still keratin, and it's just worn white. Oh, there we go. That was a good spike. The guinea fowl taking no notice. And that noise you hear is an elephant having a scratch. They've just come wider a little bit quickly. See that elephant scratching its bum quickly? I'm just very... I think a good scratch. While the nyala are more in serious business. Now, that's an elephant with a shortened trunk. It's not the female we normally see though. Oh, the nyalas are getting a bit more serious again. Now, Lava Boy 23 is wondering, could they ever break their necks? It is possible. It is possible. Normally, oh, there's another one coming in. I'm just going to move forward a bit. You can see we have elephants all around us as well. Hello. No short trunk. A short trunk little male. What's interesting, there looks to be a bigger nyala bull who might get involved. So we're just going to get ourselves in the right spot. You can see what looks to be a bigger male coming in from the left. Is he going to come sort the little ones out? Okay, other male's approaching now. Let's see what he does. And he keeps stopping to groom himself on the way. Daniel says that bird, the guinea fowl, is the referee. Oh, I just heard the elephants break the branches next to us. This doesn't look too serious. Now, as I said, these things can escalate very quickly from not so serious to really serious. Now, the reason they're looking up is actually there's a naughty elephant behind us, making a noise that they're not accustomed to, and I'll show you why. That little short trunk ellie is pulling out the pipe. Of course, the African cuckoo I came here to look for is nowhere to be seen or heard. So he was, there we go. So that's a little male that's got a shortened trunk. It's amazing to me how they adapt after having such a horrific injury. And you can see sucking up the water, still playing, still utilizing that incredible trunk. Oh, quickly this side. Sorry, Dave. Now the bigger male just popped up his crest. And those two decided, not worth it. We're out of here. Always thinking about erecting that mane. Are you wanting to challenge? I think you might be a bit of trouble. He looks a bit bigger than you. So apparently you guys are getting some wonderful screenshots of the nyala. Remember to share them. #Safari Live on Twitter. Or use our Facebook page. Or one of the many Djuma junkies or Safari Live fans. All the other Facebook pages made by you. Or it looks like the battle is over. But well, we've got the ellies next to us. They're moving off. Right in front of the lodge. Feeding off this big knobthorn. And what else is around here? Oh, there's a lone wildebeest bull. I suppose, there he is. We've named Gnormless Gnorman and Normal Norman. Now, it's more than likely the same lone bull we see on quarantine and around through to Impala Plains, Sandy Patch. Dave, do you think he needs the name? I think we're going to call him Cuckoo, the wildebeest. There we go, we saw Cuckoo, Dave. His name is Cuckoo and we've seen a cuckoo. This is now Cuckoo, the wildebeest. Cuckoo! Okay, well, let's go have a look at that short trunk ellie having a drink. Hello, little man. So it's a young ellie bull, probably late teens. I haven't seen this little bull before. Donna says, isn't it amazing how ellies adjust to short trunks? It is absolutely incredible. And they lose that little prehensile tip that is so important. But the animals of Africa are so incredibly adaptable. I'm going to go play with the pipe again. Jim Reeves is not going to be impressed with him. See, because he can't grab it with his trunk. Look how he uses his tusk to help him pull it. He's just having fun with it. Aren't you a naughty little fella? What's he doing? He's playing with his feet. Looks like he's having the best time. He's looking a bit guilty. Should I be doing that? Don't know if you could hear that, but you could hear when you let a big breath out, it sounds quite different from what a normal elephant does. Almost like you were blowing into a hose pipe. Still playing with his feet with the pipe, kicking it around. Oh, here we go. You do look naughty. You're coming to be naughty with us. Look at that, looking down his nose at us. Hello, mister. Hello, little man. Oh, sure. What are you up to next? Don't go play with Peter Bright's camera equipment. Alex and Peter and Connor will be very upset with you if you start playing with those things. It looks like you have it in your mind to start playing with those things. Hey. Don't play with that stuff. Naughty. Don't be a naughty. Otherwise, Alex will come down here and you don't want to make the Russian angry. What are you doing? That's Ronald's house. Ronald the Rover's house is now a toy for the elephant. He's giving it a good sniff. Oh no, there's water from the rain on top. He's collecting the rainwater. Isn't that incredible? Nice clean rainwater on Ronald's house. The canvas has collected the water. I take it back. You're not a naughty Ellie, you're a good Ellie. Oh, someone turned a light on me. I think it's on a timer. The Djuma pan light just came on and blinded me as I was looking at the elephant. Final controls, there any way to turn it off? Oh dear, it's very bright. There's Cuckoo the wildebeest behind. Obviously Ronald's house collected quite a lot of water. Oh Dave, you're in the danger zone. The buffalo weaver's nest's right above you. Do you think we can move forward a bit? Okay, let's try and move out of the light, the blinding light. So you see the rain collected in that canvas roof, and now what he's doing is he's collecting all the water from there. Oh, now are you going to be naughty? Now, don't play with Alex's stuff. Don't put a hole in Ronald's house. Hey. Yeah, stop it. Drink the water. Good boy. Naughty. I'm going to have a word with you more seriously now. Yes, leave it alone now. Time. Hey. It's not that interesting. It's time to leave Ronald's house. Good boy. Good boy. And you can see from the dam cam he's moved away a little bit. The naughty little short-trunked elephant. It was just wonderful, wasn't it? It was just the curiosity, and then he found that water. Amazing. Okay, well, while the naughty half-trunked elephant meanders off to join the rest of the herd, there they are. Let's go quickly back to Jamie with the royal family before it gets too dark. Cuckoo!
Speaking of the royal family and darkness, just bear with me one moment. I'm just listening to the sounds of the bush. VM said he can hear alarm calls as Hosana clambers up the marula tree. What sort of alarm calls, VM? Was it
but only one.
Impala, but only one? And look at the way Hosana's looking off into the distance. It's gone quiet for now. I'm going to keep listening. Our little mischief, you know, you've been with Brent and that elephant, and that amazing sighting with him. While you were there, I've been on my way to try and pull out of the sighting, and I stopped for one last look at what they were up to, and Xongile slunk forward and snuck under the front of our vehicle and then perched herself right next to me. You can't actually see how close she came because of the camera can't actually go that close. But I peeked around and she was on the other side of that log just looking at me. Not about to pounce, just looking. Like she decided that she was perfectly well hidden. It was amazing. It was so sweet. Looking up at us with those bright, curious and slightly mischievous eyes. In the meantime, her brother's gone back to this fun game that they've been having this afternoon. The impala is slowly disintegrating into more and more separate bits. And the back end and the spinal column obviously dangling, reaching down to grab it and try and pull it back into the tree. Oh. It's not working out so well, is it, Hosana? And perhaps you should take some lessons from your sister. Obviously it is getting very dark, and as you know, we don't have infrared on Jigga, which means that we do have to leave the sighting because I'm sure you can barely see anything at this point. Just some silhouettes of this little leopard pulling his kill up into the tree. So it's time for us to go. Ideally, I'd prefer it if Xongile was slightly further away from us, although she seems to be perfectly relaxed. Just to see how she reacts to the key turning. The windscreen wipers keep going on Jigga, which is ridiculous because we obviously don't have a windscreen or windscreen wipers. Okay, let's see. They associate the turn of the key and the squeak of a clutch with a vehicle moving, and so far she seems okay. Girl, do you mind if I come past? I just want to leave you. Okay, just let the engine run for a bit, so that she gets accustomed to the sound, and we'll go the long way round. We'll go backwards rather than forwards past her. Not even a reaction. She didn't even look at us. Alrighty, let's navigate our way out of here. Which is tricky because I can't see too well behind me. There's a tree. Yes, there is a tree. I can't see. And Michael, yes, absolutely, you are right. We have been spoilt with royal family viewings recently, or leopard sightings recently, from the royal family, to Anderson, to Quarantine, Tundi, It's been a very special leopard week, which is nice because we kind of went through a stage where we didn't see any leopards. We saw lots of lions, but hardly any leopards. Okay, manage this. While I sneak out of here and past the leopards in the dark, let's go back across to Brent for an update on his side.
Well, since we couldn't find her, cuckoo, we'll try find an owl. And Dave and I have unfortunately made a pact that while we're on camera together, till we put a cuckoo on camera, we're going to have to go cuckoo too many times. So I'm going to try avoid using the word cuckoo. Now, of course, with a little bit of rain, there could be some frogs out, some insects out that might bring little creatures like a white-tailed mongoose or an African striped weasel out. Now, that would be a proper coup d'etat to see an African striped weasel. I've only ever seen one in the Sabi Sands, and that was on Djuma, but coming down from the gate quite late at night. Oh, just impalas everywhere. Let me put the spotlight up in the air. Don't want to blind the poor impies. Oh, everywhere we look, impala, impala, impala. Now, Nicole in Canada is saying, well, since the animals are so used to seeing people in cars, isn't that dangerous for the animals because of poachers? Well, not here, Nicole. The poachers don't drive around. They have to come in at night on foot. So quite a few poachers end up as lion dinner, I'm sure. But the problem is that the odds of, I suppose here at the moment, walking into a lion at night are very high. But at the moment with the rhino poaching, the reward is justified by the risk. Now that might sound terrible, but it's very easy for us to sit and judge the rhino poachers. And one of the biggest things that I think people get very wrong, everyone jumps up and down saying, shoot the poacher, shoot the poacher. That is not the answer to the poaching problem, I'm afraid. Those poachers are often from incredibly impoverished communities. They probably earn, on government grants, etc., especially if they're from Mozambique, less than $10 a week to live off. And they have families and children and that to support. And they're looking at a massive payoff for a rhino horn. So they are people, and they're just trying to provide for their family. Now, to say shoot the poachers. Now, poaching kingpins and the smugglers and the dealers, that's a completely different story. But often the actual poachers on the ground are in a degree forced into these situations where they actually have no other choice. And it's very easy to jump on a soapbox and shout and scream, especially from far away, if you don't actually, especially if you don't understand the actual intricacies of the local communities and of Africa. It's a very complicated place, and a lot of what goes on is not well documented and people don't know about. And as much as rhino poaching is terrible, at the end of the day, it's actually an economic problem. It's not a conservation problem, because if those people had another economic resource that they could obtain, or work that they could obtain, then the risk wouldn't be worth the reward. But at the moment it is. So it's actually a very sad thing on all cases, on the human front and on the rhino front. Now, where are the owls? Definitely one of my favorite little birds. Dave, what are we going to find tomorrow morning? There we go. Hopefully we can break our cuckoo duck and find some cuckoos. As I said, I'm really hoping to find 2 species in particular, the thick-billed and the great spotted. Of course, it'd be lovely to see any of them we have not seen so far. And they've arrived literally in the last 10 days en masse. Sorry, wildebeest and impala, we don't want to blind them. And nyala. But yes, I'm very excited for the summer birds. As you know, I like birding a lot. And hopefully we're going to get some new species this year for my list and yours. Now, very, very seldom these days that I get a new bird species. So I'll be on top of the world. But a new bird species for my Sabi sand list would be great. Or even just for my Djuma list, because of course there's quite a lot of birds I've seen in the Sabi sands that I've never seen at Djuma. Things like gorgeous bushrack and scaly-throated honey guide. And hopefully, if we get a bit more rain, we're going to get some nice big flocks of Amma falcons. And you always got to look carefully for the European hobby amongst them. No owls, no bush babies. Okay, so from Dangerous Dave and myself, it's been splendid having you on the vehicle. Not yet, Dave. Man, come on. Timing is everything. So, as we say goodbye, we're going to say, cuckoo!
A little bit higher. Hello, everybody. I'm trying to figure something else. Sorry, a bit to the right here. A bit further, a little bit to the back. I don't know how to figure out what this is without going to have a look, and I don't think we've got the time to do it. Just zoom out a little bit. It's not quite so far in. It's on the edge of this bush here. There we go. Wait, hold on. I think that tree's in the way of you looking at there. Just down a little. There. What is that? I'm really hoping it's a chameleon. Just bear with me. I'm going to go forward a little. What on earth? It's a frog. It's a foam nest frog. I got really excited. I thought I'd spotted the first chameleon. I didn't. It's not a bad spot, I suppose, for a foam nest frog, but it is definitely not a chameleon. Okay, sorry about that, everybody. I got overly excited again. It's the second time. Yesterday it was birds. This evening it's been frogs. Sorry, I just had to try and figure out what it was, and I don't have my binoculars. We had to try and figure that one out without VM being able to see where to look. Of course, the search for the chameleon continues. As our sunset drives move further and further into summer, hopefully, at some point, we will manage to see them. I was convinced that was a little chameleon. Next time. Next time. Just try for a bush baby or something else. Luckily, with these drives going into the evening, we get all kinds of exciting nocturnal creatures. So there's lots and lots to look forward to as we go further into summer, and lots of reptiles and insects as well. It will be thoroughly enjoyable for us to get to share in some of the sightings that we might not necessarily enjoy during the winter months. The tortoises, for example, after our little drizzle this morning, should be out and about, and hopefully they'll be out and about tomorrow for the sunrise safari. Well, on that note, it seems as though the afternoon has flown by, and it's the end of the sunset safari once again. So a big thank you to VM for his wonderful camera work, as always, as well as to Kirsty and to Rebecca in final control, and to our amazing tech team on the ground. And most importantly, I hope that you have all had an incredible journey with us on this afternoon sunset safari, and that you're looking forward to more time spent with the lions, the leopards, and the other magical creature of the Sabi Sand. But until then, it is time for us to say goodbye, so thank you for sending through your questions and your comments. It's been fantastic chatting with you and spending the afternoon in your company, and I hope to catch up with you again on the Sunrise Safari. Bye-bye, everybody, and have an absolutely fantastic day.